Please welcome two-time SAG Award winner, Oscar nominee, and BAFTA nominee, Troy Kotsur. And this is Justin. Justin, his translator, is with us as well. Great to see you. I want to start. Oh, how's that? Oh. I'm sure Frank would have something to say about that. Sorry. Here, how about this? How about this? Yeah?
It's all right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a hearing people problem.
Exactly. Let me begin by asking you about the SAG Awards night, where you found yourself on stage not once but twice because you won Male Actor in a Supporting Role and you were part of the ensemble that won. Was it an out-of-body experience for you, or were you present in the moment?
Well, I felt like I was strong. Where I'm standing right now, I felt like I had so much dust on my back and it was finally beginning to evaporate. And I didn't have a chip on my shoulder anymore. And I finally reached a new level after such a long and tough journey as a deaf actor. But the bottom line is I was doing what I loved, and doing what I loved, and that never stopped me, all this resistance.
I know that it's so exciting to watch you. Yeah.
Love you all.
It's so exciting to watch you and Marlee Matlin together in this film, and I know there's a bit of a history between the two of you. She would often come to performances that you did, I think, at the Deaf West Theater in Los Angeles.
That's right.
But what was it like for you to finally have the opportunity to work with her? Did it live up to any expectations that you might have had in your mind?
Well, I was extremely strong as an actor on the theater stage, and so Marlee would often come and see me at Deaf West Theater in LA, and she told me, "Hey Troy, you never bore me. In all these productions, you play a really different role, and it's so interesting what you do," and I found that to be such a big compliment coming from her. And so I was working on stage for so many years, and all of a sudden, when the role of Frank Rossi came up, Marlee immediately thought of me. And so for that choice, and everything I went through, of course, it was hope that led me to where I am. And now with Coda coming out, especially with Marlee Matlin, an Academy Award winner, it's been awesome and so exciting. And she was so fun to work with because we both had a mutual understanding of our art, our craft, honing our instrument, our language, and a mutual understanding. And really, we wanted to put our best performance forward in Coda, and we did.
Yes. I know Children of a Lesser God was an important film for you as an audience member. I work for Turner Classic Movies, and occasionally they let me program my own night. And a couple months ago, I selected Children of a Lesser God because I got to pick the movies for that night, and I just love it. She won an Oscar. You're up for an Oscar. Did you ever allow yourself to dream of a moment like this in your career?
Exactly, yes, absolutely. When I was younger and I watched Children of a Lesser God, it was the first time I saw authentic deaf representation on screen with sign language on the big screen, and it kept my hope alive. And Marlee's been such an important role model as far as the acting community, and especially deaf actors. And everything that she went through, she really kept my hope alive, and I remained persistent, and really it was just a matter of time. And then it hit. And that's when it started happening, and that's what's led me here, really everything. The stars were aligned, and it's such a blessing.
There's something that I learned in researching how you worked on this film, and this is something that never occurred to me. I'm sure it has for many people in this audience. We often hear from actors that they learned a particular accent for a film that they've done. But my understanding is that to play Frank, you learned to sign in a different way. The way that Frank signs is not necessarily the way that you as Troy sign in your day-to-day life. Can you explain for me and the people in this audience, what's the difference between how Frank signs and how you sign?
Believe it or not, there's hearing people all around the world that have accents, whether in America it's East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, and the South, and it's just the same as sign language. We have our regional accents and signs. So one example is truck. So this is just one sign for truck. Here's another. This is a third. Here's a fourth. And here's a fifth. And so these are all different ways of signing just one word, which is truck. And so it's similar. We do have accents in the deaf community. And as far as fishing, I learned to really make these adjustments. We had to be out on a boat at deep sea, and I had to find these specific tools. And I wore heavy rubber gloves and heavy fishing clothing that, of course, I had to adapt to match this fishing sign language and culture. Hey, give me that hook and pass it over here, and we really had to develop our own language. And so it was an amazing journey to really explore as an actor this fishing culture and language. And it was extremely fun for me. I'm sure that the folks from West Side Story, we did a panel with some of those folks today, and they mentioned the dancing and the training and the physicality that it required for their performance. And I have so much respect for the cast of West Side Story. We just had 2 weeks training out on a fishing boat. And our director, Sean Hayter, told me that Frank Rossi, he was a high school dropout. And he left school early because he had to help his father run his fishing business. And when his father passed away, Frank had to continue. And therefore, I really had to delve into fishing. I had to know it by heart as Frank Rossi. I had to know the language, the environment, the way they walked and talked, and all of the above. So I had to push myself. And so it was really fun for me to transform into someone from Arizona, by the way. I'm from the desert. We don't have seafood or whales. And Massachusetts has whales, of course.
Earlier tonight, before I introduced Amelia, the clip that showed was the clip of the two of you in the back of the truck, which, as I said at the time, is my favorite scene of any movie from last year. And I did an interview with you over Zoom, and we talked briefly about this scene, but I'd love to talk a little bit more about it right now. And just ask you what your remembrances of that moment are. And I think you told me at the time, correct me if I'm wrong, that Sean had multiple cameras rolling while you were filming that, and that really added to, in your opinion, the power of the finished scene.
Well, that night, we were running behind schedule. And I was a little bit nervous because I knew that scene was extremely important. We really had to cherish and value this moment. So I spoke with Sean Hayter, and I asked her what her vision was for this particular scene. And what her vision was, I really wanted to meet her vision, her desires, and her expectations, but I wanted to try it my way, from my deaf culture and that lived perspective. And she let me. So what happened that night, I'll never forget that precise moment when Ruby and Frank lock eyes. And the expressions on Ruby's face, we were just sitting closer than a foot apart. And so as Frank Rossi gazes into his daughter's eyes as she's singing, he is fascinated by her facial expressions, but he still can't see her or feel the vibrations. And that's what leads Frank, and out of curiosity, he touches his daughter's throat to feel the vibrations. And he asks her for more volume. And at that moment, Frank begins to enter her musical world. And Frank didn't understand that world, being deaf himself, and he really struggled to understand his daughter's passion. And really, he took away part of her childhood and her life. But now the tables were turned, and Frank knew he had to make sacrifices to truly respect his daughter and her passion. So after what Frank experiences during Ruby's recital, and the hearing people in the audience are my ears instead of my eyes as Frank Rossi. So I have to notice, as Frank, the audience's emotional reaction to Ruby's singing. If everyone was falling asleep and acted bored, or someone was texting, or someone was picking their nose, there wouldn't be any talent there, and it would mean that she actually sucks at singing. But what I see is the audience's emotional reaction, which is quite powerful to Frank's my daughter's voice as Frank, but it was a challenge for Frank to make that sacrifice and try and put himself in her shoes, because of course he wants what's best for his daughter Ruby, and I'm sure all of you in the audience who are parents, and maybe you have to let go one day, right, of your own children. And have any of you experienced that yet? Let's see some hands. About your own daughter.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at my mom and dad who are right there. You don't have to let go of me. I'm right here. It's such a beautiful moment in an absolutely gorgeous film, and you brought it to life, you and Amelia, in such a powerful way. So many, many congratulations. Troy Kotsur, everyone.
Thank you so much.